Jan Doerfel is an immigration lawyer here in London. Jan, welcome to the programme. I mean, the morality apart, Sarah's report there just ended saying that the British government fully expects there to be legal challenges to this new idea to send people thousands of kilometres away to Central Africa. What would be the legal argument and the legal position here?
Well, I would expect judicial reviews to be brought. I mean, the whole plan is totally contrary to actually the ethos of the Refugee Convention. The view there is that there should be a certain amount of burden sharing, and this idea that the government completely outsourced their refugee obligations, so that the absurdity of determining refugee claims for life in another country, whilst people are based in that other country, with problems such as access to legal aid, access to legal representation, is fraught with an unbelievable amount of problems. So I think the legal challenges in terms of judicial review will probably follow immediately should this inane plan actually be put into effect.
The government says it's going to send single males who arrive illegally in the UK to Rwanda. But sometimes, surely, the legal methods of arriving in the UK to seek asylum are almost impossible, depending on your personal situation. Surely, each asylum application should be judged on merit rather than filling out paperwork or the method of arrival.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, in fact, there are hardly any legal ways of coming to a European country. I mean, the whole point of the scheme is to deter people. And for the same reason, the UK embassies do not have the possibility, let's say, for an applicant to apply for refugee status before leaving their country. So most refugees will, by definition, have been here illegally unless they were here legally, for example, as students. And whilst they were here, their country of the government in their country of origin changed, and they become refugees surplus. So what actually happens is that most refugees will be here unlawfully. It is not a slur on their status. It is just simply a fact.
Jan, I wanted to ask you about the British Home Secretary, Interior Minister, most people call it around the world, Priti Patel. She just said that, speaking there in Rwanda, that it's a country that follows the rule of law. And I'm just going to quote something from Human Rights Watch to you, but in a moment, because first of all, I want to give an illustration because many people say that Priti Patel doesn't always speak the truth. She is in charge of the Home Office, the Interior Ministry. Its own data shows that 61% of people who arrive in the UK by boat are genuine refugees and are likely to be given refugee status. Just last week, she was speaking to a committee of members of the House of Lords. And she said all the data and evidence has shown that in the past 12 months alone, 70% of the individuals who have come to our country illegally on small boats are single men who are effectively economic migrants. So she's speaking against her own ministry's findings. OK, so she says Rwanda follows the rule of law. 2 years ago, Human Rights Watch said that detainees in Rwanda suffer from arbitrary detention, ill treatment and torture in both official and unofficial facilities. I mean, how concerned are you as an immigration lawyer about the status of those people who will be sent to Rwanda and how they're going to be treated there?
I'm extremely concerned. I mean, the UK government itself, when Rwanda was considered at the Universal Periodic Review at the UN about a year ago, they criticized Rwanda for their lack of support for trafficking victims. And now they're effectively sending people back there, including very vulnerable people whose mental health will probably be as adversely affected, to a country that, as you say, has a difficult human rights record. I mean, also the UN committee that looks at the enforcement of migrants' rights has a list of recommendations from a year ago that is hugely critical, including about the inability of migrants, including illegal migrants in Rwanda, to enforce their rights. So it's not at all a country that complies with and that should be trusted, with the UK delegating its own international human rights obligations too. And as you state, the grant rate of asylum applications in 2021 was 42%. And of those that then appealed, Another 49% were granted. So the assertion that she knows that these people are economic migrants cannot be right, because A, that means the claim has to be determined, and the grant rates show and speak for themselves. So I sincerely doubt the figures. And this is not the first time that Priti Patel's own figures have clashed with those directly issued by the Home Office, for example, on the Ukrainian refugee scheme.
Jan, thank you so much indeed for your time. Immigration lawyer Jan Doerfel.